There's a shakeup going on this morning in the ownership ranks of the NBA.
In an unexpected move, Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban has agreed to sell the majority of his stake in the team. The family of Miriam Adelson, the widow of the GOP donor and casino magnate Sheldon Adelson, they're the prospective buyers of the team. According to a statement released by the NBA, the Adelsons have already entered into binding purchase agreements with Cuban to acquire majority ownership of the team.
Mike Vorkunov joins us now. He's the national basketball business reporter at The Athletic. Thank you very much for being with us. So tell us, what do we know about Cuban's deal here with these prospective buyers, and how much of a surprise was this?
Well, it's really surprising. Probably one of the more shocking NBA transactions of the last few years, and the details are still emerging. But I think what we can kind of whittle it down to at this point is that Mark Cuban is selling a majority stake of the Mavericks to the Adelson family for somewhere around $3.5 billion, which is a lot of money, but also is not as much probably by valuation as the Mavericks might be worth. And certainly one of the few NBA teams in the last few years in which the valuations haven't continue to go up. And the interesting part of the deal is that as of the reporting so far, it seems like Mark Cuban will retain control of basketball operations, but it won't be his team anymore. The Adelson family will have control, and they will have one of their own as the governor of the team, which will report and deal with the NBA.
I do want to ask you about that Cuban would still be head of basketball operations if this is approved. How rare is that for an owner to sell the majority share but still have so much control?
Look, it's very rare. I can't remember many times it's happened in the past. I think the only one that really comes to mind is roughly about 15 or so years ago when Michael Jordan was a minority shareholder in the then Charlotte Bobcats, but still ran basketball operations. That was a different case. He bought in as a minority owner. And of course, he's Michael Jordan, right? So maybe you get some different perks, but I can't remember an owner selling control of his team and then still remaining in control of the actual basketball operations. The difference now is it won't be his team. So we'll see how strong that hold is or how tenuous it might be.
The other thing that's kind of interesting is the timing of this, given that Cuban announced last week that he's also leaving the hit reality TV show Shark Tank next year. And now we have this news selling the stake here. There was some speculation that he was going to run for president, but he had told NBC News that he has, quote, no plans to run. But I mean, look, these are things core to his brand, core to, how he spends a lot of his time, how we see him in the public. Any hints why he would be making all these moves?
Not yet. You mentioned the Shark Tank exit. The Mavericks, and being the owner of the Mavericks, I think was really what catapulted him into this kind of fame. And now he's getting out of that to a significant degree. In recent years, he'd been running a prescription drug company, making generic drugs cheaper, cost plus drugs. He'll still be really involved in that. He's 65 now, so maybe he's just deciding to do something else with his life. As you mentioned, the presidential run, it doesn't seem like he's interested as of what he said lately. There's also the other part of it, which is a partnership with the Adelson family is something that Cuban has been interested in for a few years, to try to build a resort and a casino in Dallas, which would be a new home for the Mavericks as well, and maybe part of a push to legalize gambling and sports betting in Texas, where it's not legal yet. So this might all be kind of a bigger play in mind for Cuban, or maybe just something else altogether.
Let's talk money here. Do we know how much of a good investment this team was for Cuban?
Well, I think he bought it for roughly $285 million 23 years ago. I'm not going to try to do math off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure he's made a lot off of this investment.
He made some good money. All right.
There we go. All right. Mike Vorkunov, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.